this is a big game for Mason Rudolph. I think we're past the whole Mason is the next starter of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is probably the next starter of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but only for a season at most. Jay Glazer, of Fox Sports, says that's probably not the case either. It could be Ben Roethlisberger. Says maybe Ben Roethlisberger's come back next year. That's like the third person I've heard say Big Ben might not be done playing in the NFL, which is preposterous. Get out of here. 37 years old, bro. Go home. Or
time with your kids. Yeah.
Or it's going to be a veteran over a rookie. In other words, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, maybe Deshaun Watson. Who knows what his status is going to be? Maybe Tua Tagovailoa. Not a rookie. What does that mean for the Steelers? Does that change your excitement a little bit? Like, I was kind of hyped. Like, I was like, the Steelers are going to bring in somebody new, some new blood. Let's build from the top. You got one, maybe two struggling years, and then go. Apparently, I'm wrong.
So here's the thing with that. You're going to have to do one of two things after Big Ben goes, which I do hope is after this year. One, you're going to have to bring a rookie in, and you're going to have to hope with the defense and how everything is structured over on that side of the ball. You're going to have to hope the rookie quarterback can pick things up very quickly if you want to win a Super Bowl within the next couple of years, or you go out and you get a guy like Aaron Rodgers, like Russell Wilson, like Tua, like maybe Deshaun Watson, like pretty much any other guy. I've heard Derek Carr as a possibility as well. So, I mean, I understand it, and that's kind of what the Rams are doing right now. Like, they feel like they have a Super Bowl roster. They want to make that push, and they pushed all their chips into the table. And I feel like if the Steelers went out and got a big quarterback like that, that's obviously their way of saying, hey, like, we feel like we can have a Super Bowl ready team. Let's go do this. Let's go make this push, because the running game hopefully will still be there. The offensive line will hopefully be improved. You're going to have all of those young receivers hopefully back. I mean, Juju's probably out of here, like we've talked about. But even with his injury, who knows?
Yeah.
And then the guys on the defensive side of the ball, a lot of that nucleus will probably be coming back. You guys are way off.
I guess we are. That was what I was going to ask you next, though. Is the draft picks? We kind of changed course there with the Rams. So I was going to ask, what's the implication of that? Because if you go after a guy like Rodgers or a guy like Watson or a guy like Wilson or Carr or whoever, you're going to give up a first-round pick. That's just what's going to happen. At least one first-round pick. Yeah. And that's a huge pick for a team that still has a lot of holes outside of quarterback. There's a lot of things that need to be filled on this team next season. And then the season after that, you're not giving up probably just one first-round pick. Is that even possible for the Steelers? Like, I get what the Rams did, but somehow the Rams cheat-coded their way into this, and it did take a couple of years of just giving up everything to load the box. The Steelers are not really – I guess they are in that place, but they'd have to, like, go out and make these moves right now. It's not just like go out and get Aaron Rodgers and then you're done. It's like go out and get Aaron Rodgers, find a cornerback to replace – Joe Hayden or James Pierre or whoever.
Go get a tackle. Yeah,
go get a tackle. Go get a guard. You know what I mean? You have to hope that Gentry and everybody else just keeps working out the way that they're working out. You got to go replace Juju Smith-Schuster. You probably have to replace James Washington with somebody. That's a lot of holes. So you have to go out and get these pieces. Is that even possible to do in one season? Because that's what you're looking at. No. You get a guy like Rodgers, you got 1-2 years before you're really starting to take some chances.
Well, we talked about the rebuild of the offensive line, and we talked about how that's going to be years, man. Like, before this offensive line can get back to what it once was, it's going to take multiple off seasons to get it back. So, if it takes that long for, a unit of 5 guys, no, I don't think he can single-handedly change its franchise around within one offseason. I do feel like the addition of a top veteran quarterback would probably, like you said a little bit earlier, get the fans excited, get them ready, and, improve your chances immediately of contending for a Super Bowl. But you also have to think long-term too. Like, every team's long-term goal is to find a franchise quarterback, right? Like, you're not going to go out and get Aaron Rodgers and then draft a quarterback with the first pick and, the draft, right? Like, you're probably going to have a guy like Mason still sit behind him, or a guy like Dwayne Haskins still sit behind him.
But that's what I'm saying. You're
And
just putting yourself in that situation for the next year and the next year and the next year and the
right.
next
And
year.
like, here's the thing: like, a lot of the times, like it doesn't work out. Like that team getting a veteran quarterback outside of Tom Brady magically becoming a free agent, and outside of Peyton Manning magically becoming a free agent, like those moves don't really work out. So it's like, okay, like you're delaying the inevitable, which is the Steelers are not going to win a Super Bowl with the current roster they have. Even if a guy like that comes over here, whether it's Wilson or Rodgers, or whatever, they're probably not going to win a Super Bowl. And it's like, okay, well, the one opportunity you had to get a high draft pick, to go and get your guy, to move up and get a guy like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, whatever it may be, going from the early to late 20s into the top 10 and get your next franchise quarterback, you just screwed yourself. Because now you're sitting in the middle of the draft. You don't have a lot of draft capital because you just used all of that to go get a franchise quarterback. And now you're kind of like meddling in mediocrity. It's what the Vikings have done. I mean, it's what the Giants did for a really long time before they tried to go get Daniel Jones. A lot of teams do it, and there's not a good track record of success.
No, exactly. And that's what I think, like, that's the problem, is all these people are like, oh, go get a veteran quarterback. And the Steelers are like, we're going to get a veteran quarterback. I get that if your goal is to win a Super Bowl right now and you're just pushing off the inevitable for the next 3 or 4 years. But that stinks for guys like Minkah Fitzpatrick and Troy Polamalu, who have to wait the next 5 years after that before their team's good enough again. And at that point, they're pretty much on the end of their contracts. Who knows what's going to happen from there? You're wasting the end of the career of guys like Najee Harris and of some of these wide receivers. I don't know. I think that's just like, I get it and I get the idea, and they just have to be so certain that this is a Super Bowl team, not this could be a Super Bowl team. It's like, no, we are winning the Super Bowl right here, and then probably again the year after that, because that is our only option if we make these moves. Otherwise, we just delayed failure for 2 years, because that's all it would take, is 2 years for a quarterback to come in here and get to a point where he's good enough to be a reliable, good quarterback, to push this out for the next 5 years.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, you really have to be certain that your defense is going to be ready to win you a championship. And if you do feel like your team and your defense is ready to win a Super Bowl, then yeah. But like, to be honest, man, this defense is not playing that hot this year. I feel like 2019 and 2020 were prime years of this defense to go out and do something. And after that, it's like, okay, you just really got to be certain. And you made a really good point earlier. The Los Angeles Rams, this did not happen overnight. Like, they brought some big pieces into LA, but they did it over the course of a couple of years. They went out, they got Jalen Ramsey for a couple of years. They already had Aaron Donald there. They went and got Von Miller, during the season, in the offseason, where they brought in Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff. Like, I still have no idea how that trade went down, because Stafford is light years better of a quarterback than Jared Goff. So I still don't know how that trade went down. They've added a bunch of other key pieces. And will it work out in LA? I don't think so. But like, it's probably the best attempt that we've seen. They can at least say, hey man, like we tried. We got all these pieces.
Oh, they definitely tried.
The dice did not fall in our favor, whatever. But like, we tried.
No, I get that. Let me ask you this before we move on to our picks here and our Week 11 bets with our same day 4-leg parlay. If you had to guess what veteran quarterback ends up in Pittsburgh next season, what would your guess be?
It's tough. Veteran meaning just not a rookie, right? It could be like a second-year player.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you had to predict the Steelers' starting quarterback next season, and it's not a rookie, and it's not Mason Rudolph, who is it?
Oh, man. They've never been the team to just throw out a huge slew of ammunition, like draft capital wise, to go and get a guy like that. So I think that takes Rodgers off the board. I think that takes Deshaun off the board. I think that takes Russell Wilson off the board. Honestly, if they do make a move for a quarterback, I don't think it's Tua. Like, because don't get me wrong, I like Tua. But like, he has not shown a lot of good things. And granted, it might be Miami. I think it might be Derek Carr. I really think if they're trying to go win a Super Bowl and they don't want to give up 3 first-round picks, I think It's got to be Derek Carr.
Derek Carr's a name. I don't have a guess. And I think that's a question that everybody just like, we've all talked about a million veteran quarterbacks heading to Pittsburgh next season. Nobody's like, yeah, this is going to be the one that makes the most sense. People have thrown a boatload of names out there. I don't know. I don't think I have a guess. I don't think it's Rodgers. I don't think it's Russell Wilson. I really don't think it's definitely not Deshaun Watson. Like, I don't think at all it would be Deshaun Watson. Derek Carr is a good one. Marcus Mariota, his backup, is another good one. I'm still banking on Mason Rudolph. That's my guess here.
I've heard Jameis. I've heard Teddy Bridgewater. I've heard a bunch.
Please don't be Teddy Bridgewater.
Tyrod Taylor.
But Teddy Bridgewater lost his place in the Steel City when he tried to tackle that cornerback against the Eagles. That's when the Steelers were like, nah, never mind. We're good on that one.